All right. So thanks for watching, everyone. Maddie was nice enough to attend a webinar last week put on by Jeff Glover talking about the cost per lead, the true cost per lead. So, Maddie, do you want to kind of go over some of the things they talked about?
Sure. I don't know if everyone knows who that is. I didn't know who that was.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that's probably a good point.
just a little back.
Yeah,
Jeff.
but Jeff,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, he's been a realtor for I guess 18 years, and this is like his personal research that he's done, just like through his team because they were one of the first teams to buy leads back in the day. So he's had like a lot of personal experience with like every major lead source. And then he's also apparently like interviewed a bunch of other agents across the country too, just to figure out like what they use and what are their strategies and all that stuff. So from there, he basically is talking about the true cost of a cheap lead. He used like Zillow and Facebook's specifically, but he wants to like go into how, yeah, you're paying for like the actual ad cost, but you're also paying for the time it takes, the money, the opportunity cost, the future business, the use of your energy and enthusiasm, and how that all kind of like builds into it too. And it's not really as cheap as, yeah, you would think.
yeah,
So he
that
kind
makes
of like goes into a lot of like calculations too about how he like came to this conclusion. It's not like he just decided, oh, Facebook's better, Zillow's better, whatever. So the main takeaway here is that he discovered that the ultimate costs per lead are about the same, but you have to figure in the time it takes to convert that lead. Um, he also goes through kind of the definition between a lead and a prospect, which was something that I didn't really think about too. So specifically, a lead is someone who's going to buy or sell a home within a reasonable time frame. And for him, he defines reasonable as in 30 to 90 days. And then difference between that and a prospect is someone who literally just their contact information of someone who will do business at some point. So it's not really like, definite.
yeah.
Um, and then also, of course, direct versus indirect business, but that's probably more straightforward. Um, so yeah, so basically he goes into these costs, and although the Facebook and Zillow costs are pretty much about the same, and you can go in here too and like look at the exact math, because he basically goes like he puts in numbers for like what his team uses and tries to factor in like the approximate hourly rate of a realtor who I think he said like made 100,000 a year, and through all that, he basically tells you that it takes about 3 hours for Zillow to like convert that lead versus 21 hours for Facebook. And again, that's kind of factoring in like the approximate rate and all that stuff, and also the 3 by 3 rule,
Hmm.
or 3 by 3 by 3 rule, which I'm not sure if everyone knows that either.
Yeah, the three by three by three. If you don't know it, is three texts, three emails, three phone calls in 3 days.
Yeah.
So that is just so you know.
That's what he swears by. So
Yeah.
following all that, yeah, it technically takes about 3 hours to convert a Zillow lead and about 21 for Facebook. So really, he's saying that like it's still worth it to buy these, leads if that's what you're interested in doing. It's just you have to put more effort into your follow up because that's really what it's going to take, and you have to kind of factor in like what it's worth for you. Like if you could spend the, difference 18 hours you could be using for something else, like is that more, cost worthy to you than
Hmm.
trying to, nurture these Facebook leads or whatever?
I thought was interesting that you had in here is his average cost per lead was on Zillow was pretty high
Mm-hmm.
compared to our average cost per lead, like from Zillow. Like I think he was paying like an average of $75, something like that.
um I just like summarize the main stuff. I don't know like
Yeah.
our exact numbers, so
Yeah, yeah, like it was I think you had on your other sheet that it was yeah, that he was spending on average of $75 per lead, which was interesting compared to our market. So he might
mhm.
just be in a little bit better, more higher priced neighborhoods. So
Yeah, that's
that
true.
probably matters.
And then he was also kind of saying like in terms of the actual breakdown of the leads, like his team needed approximately 11 leads to close one sale. And then he literally breaks down like 1 to 4 of those leads are wrong numbers and they won't call you back. And 5, 6, and 7 respond and are set up on a search. And at least one exchange takes place. 8 and 9 engage with you on multiple occasions and could be future business. And then 10 ends up transacting, but not with you. And then 11 ends up transacting within 30 days. So he has studied this like pretty extensively, and he
Yeah.
gives you like a, so you just have to determine like if it's actually worth it for you and the team, I guess.
Right. That's interesting. That he mainly just kind of went into Facebook and Zillow, those two main comparisons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, what would you say in terms of going down a little bit on your form? You
Oh,
have those things highlighted there, like the average, like the actual math breakdown of it.
yes.
Yeah, he's also paying 13,000 a month in the actual numbers, which led to 79 closings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and that's probably pretty right on the same pace of what we were doing somewhere in there at
Okay.
one point. Um, you know, we weren't spending that much, but we were, Zillow definitely had a good return. It's more of just, they also want to put us out of business. So I mean, hey,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, he even mentioned that too, how he has his, things he doesn't like with Zillow, and but he basically said that like they're the place people want to go, so you have to have some presence on there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's a good point. Can you scroll down a little bit more?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just talking about the top of the funnel sources, like the realtors, the online leads, the things that are Facebooks, the Zillows, the referrals that are just kind of funneling in. That you take all these things from the top of your funnel and it funnels down into like a closed sale.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then he's talking about finding ways to automate the experience, kind of like what we were doing with agentology.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
to have that conversation back and forth. That's what I liked about agentology is you would get that and you'd get the stats behind it. And there's a good chance we'll go back to that at some point in the future, but it's
Mm-hmm.
more of just figuring out the right way to go about it. So
Yeah, because that would definitely help with, well, you have to build it in because it would help with your time, but then you have to pay
yeah,
for that too. So,
exactly. So
yeah.
exactly. Um, yeah, and that's that third bullet point you have there where agents aren't getting transaction is the attention span. Yeah, it's the focus. It's following up. 3 by 3 by 3 in 3 days. That's a
Hmm.
lot for a lot of people. Um, so it's definitely one of those factors that and especially when you're saying the cost so cheaply doesn't take into account the follow-up. But if you can put in those follow-up things automatically, like with a smart plan or with canned responses in Gmail or through
Yeah.
text messaging in your phone automatically or Messenger, can really kind of bring it down.
Yeah, it
So
sounds like command would kind of fix that problem.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So pretty much it kind of looks like, the costs are pretty even. It's just you're going to have to work Facebook leads way harder, and it's going to
Hmm.
result in about 18 more hours worth of work on average per lead than a Zillow lead. So, the cost to acquire a Zillow lead might be more in the beginning, but overall in the end, they all kind of balance out, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting stuff. So that was kind of what I wanted to go over with everyone today. Thanks so much, Maddie, for going to that meeting and taking all these notes for us.
Yeah.
We're going to post these in the general chat here, and yeah, let us know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Maddie.
Yep.